The night she returned without warning, the mansion did not feel like hers anymore. Rain clung to the iron gates like a warning, and the lights inside glowed softly, as if the house itself was holding its breath. She had flown home early, exhausted by deals that blurred together and applause that never warmed her bones. What she saw inside would crack open a truth she had buried beneath billions, and it would change every life under that roof forever. Before the story pulls you deeper, pause for a moment. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power of humanity, please like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to the channel for more stories that remind us who we are at heart. The billionaire had built her empire from a place of hunger and loss, the kind that never truly leaves you. She grew up watching her mother clean offices late into the night, memorizing the sound of keys and the way exhaustion bent a person's spine. When success finally came, it came fast and loud, and she wrapped herself in discipline and distance to survive it. The mansion on the hill was meant to be a reward, a fortress of quiet where no one could touch her grief or expectations. Over time, it became a place she rarely visited, more symbol than shelter, maintained by staff whose names she barely learned because remembering them felt like responsibility she was not ready to carry. The janitor was one of those names she never learned. A woman who arrived before dawn and left after dusk, cleaning the long corridors and polishing floors that reflected wealth like a mirror. The janitor wore practical clothes and a tired dignity, and she moved with careful efficiency, as if time itself had once chased her and never quite stopped. No one noticed when she began bringing a stroller through the service entrance after school hours. No one noticed the four small shapes bundled together like warmth itself, because the mansion was large enough to swallow secrets whole. That night, the billionaire stepped inside alone, coat still damp, heels echoing in the vast foyer. She expected silence. Instead, she felt it first as a vibration in the air, a fragile hum of life. Somewhere deeper in the house, a soft rhythm existed that did not belong to the building. She followed it, curiosity pulling her past the marble staircase and into a wing she never used. There, beneath a chandelier dimmed to save electricity, she saw the janitor seated on the floor with 4 children pressed close, sharing a single blanket. The children were identical in the way miracles are, small faces lit by a lamp, eyes wide and calm as if they had learned early how to be still. Bottles, folded rags, and a worn backpack were arranged with military precision nearby, a small island of survival in a sea of luxury. What shocked the billionaire was not merely the presence of children in her home. It was the way the janitor held them, arms moving with a practiced tenderness that spoke of long nights and harder days. The janitor was not hiding in shame, she was protecting something precious. The billionaire felt a tightening in her chest she had not felt since childhood, the memory of her own mother waiting for a bus at midnight, hands cracked, eyes hopeful. The mansion suddenly felt cold and immense, and for the first time, she wondered what her success had built and what it had erased. The janitor's story unfolded without words, written in the lines of her face and the careful economy of her movements. She was a single mother of quadruplets, born too early, too small, into a world that offered sympathy but little help. Medical bills had devoured savings. Rent notices piled up like snowdrifts. When eviction came, it came quietly. With a stamped envelope and a deadline that did not care about miracles. The job at the mansion had been a lifeline, and the children had nowhere to go after school. She cleaned faster, slept less, and carried hope like a fragile glass that might shatter if she set it down. The billionaire stood frozen, confronted by a truth she could not outsource or ignore. This was not a headline or a charity gala story. This was happening under her roof, on her polished floors, because systems failed people quietly and expected them to disappear. She felt shame rise, then anger at herself, and then something else, something braver. She realized that wealth had insulated her from consequences but not from responsibility. The janitor did not ask for rescue. She asked for the dignity of work and the chance to keep her children safe. Days passed, and the billionaire did not forget what she had seen. She returned often, not announced, watching from a distance as the janitor managed a universe with 4 small suns orbiting her. The children learned to read using discarded magazines. They learned numbers by counting footsteps down the hall. They learned patience and gentleness because chaos had taught them otherwise. The billionaire began to feel the mansion soften, its echoing halls absorbing laughter and whispered lullabies. She felt her own walls begin to crack. Change did not come as a single grand gesture. It came as a series of decisions that demanded humility. The billionaire ordered a review of wages and schedules, realizing how many lives balanced on the edge of exhaustion. She arranged childcare without fanfare, housing without strings, healthcare without cameras. She learned the janitor's name and the children's birthdays. She discovered how courage looks when it wakes up every morning without guarantees. Each choice rewired something inside her, shifting her understanding of success from accumulation to stewardship. The janitor struggled with trust, because kindness had often arrived with conditions before. But consistency spoke louder than promises. The children began to grow, their laughter echoing freely now, their fears loosening their grip. The billionaire found herself staying in the mansion longer, cooking simple meals, listening to stories that did not involve markets or margins. She felt present in a way she had not in years, grounded by a purpose that no acquisition could match. As months turned into seasons, the mansion transformed from a monument into a home. The billionaire funded scholarships in the janitor's name, not as tribute but as acknowledgement of quiet heroism. She instituted policies across her companies that recognized caregivers, flexible hours, living wages. Critics called it sentimental. Investors worried. The billionaire persisted, because she had seen the cost of indifference up close, wrapped in a blanket on a marble floor. The true test came when the story threatened to leak. Publicity would have brought praise, but it would have stolen dignity. The billionaire chose silence, absorbing the pressure, protecting the janitor's privacy. In doing so, she discovered that integrity is easier when no one is watching, and that real impact does not need applause. The janitor, now secure, trained for a role in facilities management, her confidence blooming alongside her children's curiosity. The quadruplets grew into themselves, resilient and bright, knowing that someone saw them when it mattered. Near the end of this journey, the billionaire stood once more in the foyer on a rainy night. The house no longer held its breath. It breathed with her. She understood that arriving unannounced had been a gift, a collision with truth that saved her from a life polished and empty. The shock she felt that night had become gratitude, and gratitude had become action. She did not see herself as a savior. She saw herself as a participant, finally present in the shared work of being human. If this story has reached you, if it stirred something quiet and tender inside, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who believes compassion still matters, and subscribe to the channel so these stories can keep finding their way to hearts that need them. And just before the ending, here is a special request. Comment with the words, "Kindness changes lives," if you believe small acts can reshape entire worlds. The billionaire never forgot the night she arrived home unannounced. She carried it with her into boardrooms and balance sheets, into decisions that would ripple outward in ways she might never fully see. The janitor and her quadruplets carried something too, the knowledge that dignity can be restored, that safety can be built, and that sometimes the door you clean is the one that opens your future. In the end, what shocked her was not what she saw, but who she became because she chose to see.